Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two bourbon whiskeys. The first, 10 High. Now, I think this is a version that is no longer in production. This is the 10 High Sour Mash Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey, a blend, aged 4 years and blended at a 51 to 9 ratio, 51% straight bourbon whiskey, 49% grain neutral spirits, 80 proof. Now, 10 High was introduced in 1934, but it was a straight bourbon whiskey and it was 86 proof. Now it's a blended bourbon whiskey, 80 proof. That's the one I have here. But currently, you'll find it sold with a different label, an eagle, no longer showing Hiram Walker on it, which makes sense because Hiram Walker was bought out years ago and it's not even its own company anymore. It's diffused. The name exists. That's it. And all the distilleries were sold off or demolished or reimagined, like one is like a shopping mall, shopping center, event center. But anyway, talking about one in Canada. Anyway, the current version is a bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. So they've had at least 3 versions of this, and it may have been 4 because they may have gone from 86 straight bourbon down to 80 proof straight bourbon, then to this blended, now to the current one. I have the current one. I got to come back around and do that in taste challenges. Okay. Price. I got this last week for $9.99. Still available if you can find it. They had 2 bottles left. $9.99. Okay. Here's another, and there's no website, so don't even bother looking because you're not going to find anything. Here's the competitor. Evan Williams, Kentucky's first distiller. Okay, supposedly. Charcoal filtered, genuine sour mash Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Now, funny thing here. It's talking about 1783. Oh, it's aged 3 years, by the way, 3 years. If you look on the Evan Williams website, which I was looking at a few minutes ago, this is not listed. You will not find any description or acknowledgement of what people call Evan Williams green label, green with white and gold trim. No, it starts off with Evan Williams black label, the original Evan Williams from not 1783, but 1955, because I was looking at trademark data from the U.S. Trademark Office, and the trademark on Evan Williams bourbon was first used in commerce. I think it said July 15th. That doesn't matter, but it was 1955. I was paying attention to the year, 1955. But then the clever marketers at Heaven Hill, who started Evan Williams, they, like a lot of these companies, create this legend of, 1755, 1789, Evan Williams, like it's its own company that's been around that long. But it's deceptive here because this bottle says 1879 and it's trying to make you think that this product's been around since 1879, and it hasn't. It's 1934. Yeah, Hiram Walker, the company. Yeah, okay. They've been around since 1879, but they're not even really a company anymore. Okay, and it does at least tell you bottled in California and Kentucky by Barton Distilling. But they got bought out by Sazerac in 2009. So there you go. Okay, now on the back of this bottle, see, it says bottled by Old Evan Williams Distillery, Bardstown, Kentucky. Aha. But it's really Heaven Hill Distillery of Bardstown. And it's a bottling plant. Their distillery burnt down in 1996. I mean, burnt up. And then a bunch of rickhouses burnt up. So what they did was they had a lot of problems after that, as you can imagine. So I was looking at a photo they have on their website of the gutted distillery. I don't know what they did with the building, if it's still there, unrepaired, or if they demolished it. but they bought somebody else's distillery in Louisville, Bernheim. And they said that it was much more modern and much bigger instead of the antiquated equipment they had at the one that burnt down. So they just made that their main distillery, Louisville. But the bottling plant did not burn, wasn't affected by the fire in Bardstown. So they still use it to bottle a lot of stuff. And it says evanwilliams.com. Well, you can look up evanwilliams.com, but this is not listed on there. It's funny to give you the website, but you can't get it. They don't talk about it on the website. I guess a lot of states don't get the green label. We do. I got 2 of these half size, two halves make a whole, and it was $9.98. How you like that? $9.98 for a full amount versus $9.99 here. So a penny difference. I think the Evan Williams went up $1. It's $10.99 now, $1 and a penny, because inflation. But I don't know. I was at international market. They might still have these halves for $4.99. I'm not sure. I had bought all I intended to buy anyway. I'm not going to buy it again in the future, so doesn't matter. It's like this. This is it. Buying it the second time, and there won't be a third. Unless I buy it for a gift, but I wouldn't give this for a gift. I'd get something, more expensive. So the Evan Williams is gold, copper, but more like gold, amber, let's say amber. We know it has no color added because it's a straight bourbon. Coloring not allowed. This is a little darker, but only just a tiny bit darker. And the 10 high could be colored because it's blended bourbon, and coloring is allowed, meaning caramel color is allowed to be added to blended bourbon, including flavoring. And you don't have to disclose it. And this bottle does not mention anything about coloring or flavoring, but they don't have to mention it. So there's your answer on that issue. Yesterday, I did the Jim Beam Prohibition repeal versus the 10 high, and it was nearly a tie. And really, in a practical sense, considering the price and everything, it was a tie. But the Jim Beam Prohibition repeal is a little bit better, but it was so close that I could barely tell them apart, but I did get it correct. And secondly, that it was almost like not even worth talking about. It was so close. So like I said, my friend David always says it's what and what. And that was kind of like what and what. Let's see what happens here. Probably going to turn out the same way. And these are both sour mash, so it could be even more difficult because they tend to have a commonality of aroma and flavor, no matter who's making it. I mean, that's been my experience so far. Just smell like sour mash bourbon, which has a little bit of that sourdough bagel thing going on, It smells kind of basic. When I say these things, people are sometimes thinking I'm saying that the product's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. If I thought it was bad, I say it smells bad, or that's a nasty aroma. Or it just smells basic, meaning simple. There's nothing complex or elaborate about it over here. Yeah, even more basic. You pick up a little sourdough, but I know it doesn't use sourdough. So I'm thinking that must be the 10 high because it's probably washed out. The aroma is probably washed out by having 49% of the volume being unaged grain neutral spirits, corn liquor. Some people will say they use vodka, but they don't use vodka. If you ever hear somebody saying that, they're showing their ignorance. But good thing about being ignorant, it can change because you can learn. Ignorant just means that you don't know. Ignorant means you don't know. But you can learn, you can educate yourself or be educated, and then you're not as ignorant. It's not the same as being unintelligent. You know, a lack of intelligence means you wouldn't be able to learn. Even if somebody was trying to explain it to you, you have a deficit there and you couldn't learn it. So they're related, but they're not the same. Okay. It's like vodka and grain neutral spirits. They're related, but they're not the same. So when you hear these people flippantly talking about, oh, that's brown vodka, that's just totally wrong. It's brown. Okay, so it's not totally wrong. These are brown in a sense, but they're not vodka. And let's go on. So keep your eyes and ears open and keep your mind open. A lot of people have trouble with doing that, keeping their mind open, and they succumb to rigid thinking and formed ideas, which may be based on fantasies and not reality or facts. Okay, cheers. All right, barrel char, clear charred oak. I don't know what the char level is. I know it's aged at least 3 years because it could be the Evan Williams I have in my hand here. Yeah. Sour mash. Yeah, just like good bourbon. It tastes like good bourbon. I didn't say elaborate. I didn't say fancy. I didn't say world class. I didn't say exquisite or even elegant. I just said good. Is it possible to buy good bourbon for less than $10? Yes, as evidenced by the fact that I bought good bourbon for less than $10, $9.98 for a full amount. Okay, let's go over here. Much less flavor. It's washed out. You could say bland, and I would not argue with that assertion. Um, this would be more like marginally good bourbon. Marginally good. You say you mean like a B minus? Exactly. Maybe an 80 out of 100. You could push it to 82 out of 100 possibly by thinking on it as you're drinking on it, but can't see going higher than that. Smooth and pleasant and mild and mellow, and there's no sharp edges. It's not bitey. It's not nasty. It's not gross. It's none of those things. It's just mild, mellow, and we could say bland, you see. But I've paid a lot more money for bland whiskeys in my life. I paid $30. Maybe it wasn't 30, but it wasn't far from it. Could have been 28 something. Chivas Regal, 80 proof, blended Scotch. This is blended bourbon. Age 12 years, not 4 years like this. It was so dull. I mean, I did score it a 90 because it was some elegance to it in that, but it was pretty dull. I wasn't too excited about it. Now, when I tried the Mitsunara, same thing, 80 proof. It was a much higher level of enjoyment and experience with that. That was really a much fuller presentation. So if I had to go by just Chivas Regal on its own merits, I may not ever buy another one, you know. But the Mitsunara changed my thinking and say, oh, I could see going up the ladder with this. Okay. You get a little bit of that candy corn and the like you get with whiskey, you know, in the what they call that, honeysuckle nectar, and but as far as barrel char and that and those kind of things, nah, it ain't happening. Ain't happening too much. Oh yeah, you got the good char, Evan Williams, a little bit of that sourdough bagel thing going, but you can see that they have some rye in it. I mean, you may have it in this other one too, but you can't detect like rye, a little malt whiskey. Oh yeah, it's nice. So why would I pay $9.99 for a 10 high when I could pay a penny less, or at least I could earlier, maybe last year, not now, a penny less and get a straight bourbon whiskey? Even though it's younger, it's only aged 3 years as opposed to 4. It's got a lot more character. So Evan Williams is a clear and present winner, and there's no doubt about it. I think you would agree if you try these in a blind. Got to do a blind taste test now. Can't do those look-see taste tests. A look-see taste test is no good. It has no validity to it. Not any real validity, you know, because you're looking at the two. So that is so. It's so easy to bring in unintentional bias. I say unintentional. I didn't say you would be intentionally biased. Unconscious bias. See, I'm like Sigmund Freud, you know, the unconscious mind. But there's truth to that. You see, so but if you don't know which is which, you can't be biased in this practical application because you don't know which is which. I mean, you could be biased, but you can't institute it into the taste challenge, even if you want to, because you don't know which is which. Okay, so I'm going to say Evan Williams, green label, hard to find in most states, but not in Louisiana. And it's much better than a penny. But even though, well, actually, it was a penny less. So what am I saying? It was a penny cheaper. So it's dollars better, many dollars better. And there you go, got it right. So it was no doubt about it. Like Gwen Stefani, there was no doubt, you know. So I'm just gonna tell you to holler back, girl, because that's the way the whiskey rumbles. Mr. R says morning. Drewski Brewski says Ronald the Riot. Cheers. Cheers to you. Cheers back to you. So you say, well, I only have $10 plus tax to spend this month for bourbon. I'm having a bad month. Happens to people. I get that. And I stumble across Evan Williams and 10 high. Which one should I pick? Without any hesitation, it would be Evan Williams. Don't even entertain the thought of the 10 high. I'm saying if you only got the $10, you know, don't even entertain the thought. This is going to win 1,000 out of 1,000 taste challenges. I don't know that. I'd have to actually do it, but I'm not going to. I haven't established reliability yet. Reliability would mean every time you do it, it happens again. That's reliability. This challenge was valid because it tested what it was supposed to test. It fulfilled the hypothesis, but we don't know if it's reliable because I would have to do it, say 10 taste challenges, but I'm not going to do it because I don't care if it's reliable or not. I just want to know. I want to go through all the other brands. I'm not going to stay here for a millennium and do it. So there's the 10 high. Is it worth buying? It's worth buying. You understand? It's worth buying just to try it, but I wouldn't substitute it for something else unless it was some other shabby, okay, we'll say it, shabby blended bourbon, like Kentucky Gentleman, which was, it was okay. That's kind of like this. But I think that's been replaced also by the new bourbon with natural flavors. And I sure was disheartened to see Kentucky Tavern, which used to be a straight bourbon whiskey aged 3 years and a beautiful product. I noticed the recent Kentucky Taverns are saying bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. So they reconstituted it. Should I buy it to revisit it and see if it's different? I would like to do that, but I got so much backstock that it's going to be a theory and never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be something I'll say off and on for the next 20 years, and then, but it'll never happen. You know, like you'll never see it occur. If you ever do see Kentucky Tavern or 10 High straight bourbons, buy them, because that means they're old bottles that are out of production. Get it while you can. I'm drinking Benchmark, says Drewski Brewski. Benchmark. Well, I have some very shocking news. Actually, it's not shocking. People expect it. I have a whole Benchmark series coming up. Might be 10 years from now, but I got a Benchmark series coming up. Benchmark and all the rest of the new family. The top floor, the small batch, the bottled and bond, the single barrel, and the barrel proof. Got them all. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to roll, but I gotta go. But I can't. I can't roll because I got the very old Barton. I can't remember which label they make so many labels of very old Barton you can't keep up. But it was one of them. I bought it in Mississippi. Can't get it in Louisiana. I've got Old Charter, Bird Dog, the regular bourbon, not the flavors. Zachariah Harris. I did their eggnog. It was wonderful. I mean, it's crazy. If you saw what I have, you'd say, you need help. Like, I do need help drinking it. You know what I'm saying? I need help with the hobby, you know, because I got so much. But shoot, man. I'm overlooking some. I know I got others. Oh, Jim Beam Black Label, that number 8, the 8-year age, the old 8-year. I got the old Jim Beam Black. Not the one they make now. Extra age. I got one from like 20 years ago, maybe older. And I got a whole handle of it, and I know where to find it still. I can still find it. Yep. Oh, my friend David was stunned when he heard about that. He was immediately to the store. He said, we used to drink this so long ago. That's funny. So yeah. I got so much bourbon coming up. And that's before I ever get to the Benchmark. And look, I never even did the Evan Williams 1783. I never did the Evan Williams small batch. I never did the Evan Williams. Well, I did a little of the bottle and bond. Somebody gave me a bottle, which was nearly empty. But so yeah, I mean, there's so many I want to try, and I can't do it. Can't do it. I mean, I could do it if I did 5 taste challenges a day, but then I'd be in a hospital and out of commission, you know. So, well, happy Mardi Gras, everybody. Although I know most places don't have that. We don't even we have a holiday today. Most people off of work. I'm off of work because I don't work on Tuesdays. Typically, sometimes I do, but usually no. So it's not related to Mardi Gras. But yeah, Mardi Gras Day. Parades will be starting in 1 hour and 59 minutes. 1 hour and 59 minutes. Zulu with the blackface. You say blackface? People don't wear that anymore. You crazy? Well, yeah, they do in New Orleans. It's like a minstrel show parade, but it's funny, you know. But if you're uptight, I wouldn't go to that parade. If you're easily offended, I would not go to that. I wouldn't go to Mardi Gras. If you're easily offended, don't go to Mardi Gras. Don't go to Mardi Gras. So, all right. Well, y'all take care now.